In the midst of renovations, the Hawks Nest Golf Club was a vulnerable target for armed bandits. At around 10:40 p.m, just after closing time, two men forced their way into the premises by kicking in a newly plastered wall.
The staff were cleaning up and one of them was encountered with a man that was had a balaclava on and he was armed and forced into the ground. He ended up getting the other staff member and got the keys.
A bandit struck one of the workers in the back of the head with the butt of a gun.
Initially the first one was assaulted and the other one was told to get out here otherwise they'd shoot him. And so we did, and then they were both tied up and then they went about their business.
Using the keys, the intruders then emptied the safe of the day's takings before fleeing the scene. The two workers managed to untie themselves and called the police. It's unknown how the bandits escaped. Police say the hold-up was the work of professionals. One man is described as being aged in his 40s, tall with a stocky build. The other is believed to be in his 20s, of average height with a thin build. Both were wearing dark clothing and balaclavas at the time. Simone Cobb, NBN News.
The charred remains of the truck told the grim story this morning. The 34-year-old driver from the Blue Mountains had been travelling north on the Pacific Highway at about 3 a.m. when his truck loaded with refrigerated goods veered off the road and into a tree just north of the Tea Gardens turnoff. The rig burst into flames on impact, burning the driver to death. It's estimated at the height of the blaze, the flames reached as high as 20 metres, scorching the treetops. The Pindima Bushfire Brigade quickly extinguished the fire. One lane was closed to traffic as SES crews then worked to clear the goods and wreckage from the road. It's believed fatigue played a major part in the crash. No one else was injured. Emma Siossian, NBN News.
The start of the pre-season competition drew a big crowd to the entertainment centre. Out in the middle, a new look Falcons had a few first quarter hiccups before Butchase found the mark. Tony Jensen made a flying return and the Young Guns kept the scoreboard ticking. But it was Canberra on top. The Cannons were ruthless in defence as well as attack, racing to a half-time lead courtesy of pinpoint shooting and some uncharacteristic errors from the locals. 48-43, a solid start to the second term, and Ben Melmoth levelled it up. But Canberra fought back to take control. Pre-season teamwork performed with precision as the Cannons opened up a 6-point advantage heading into the final quarter. An outstanding defensive effort only increased the lead, and at the siren the visitors finished comfortable 15-point winners. Meantime, the Bullets outgunned Illawarra to win last night's other battle at the stadium. Brisbane clinched the 88-83 victory thanks to a 22-point haul to veteran guard Mike McKay. Cosmina isn't too concerned about Friday night.
I think we're probably due a loss.
The Breakers boss has done his homework and in his mathematical equation, Newcastle can still make the finals.
Well, we always said we had to win 4 out of the 7, possibly draw 2 or win 5 out of the 7. That means we've got 6 to go. We're going to have to win 5 out of 6.
Sounds confusing? Well, according to Cozzy, it's not. Newcastle may have been thumped by South Melbourne, but the side is still in with a chance of making the playoffs. Sydney United has jumped clear on the NSL ladder. Brisbane, South Melbourne, Marconi and Adelaide City are next, but the rest of the field is bunched.
We're still only a couple of wins away from the top six, so it's going to be a little bit harder. That's all. It puts a little bit more pressure on because we'll have to win games against good quality opposition like Sydney United and Marconi.
They may have also had a weekend on the wrong side of the scoreboard, but a few Newcastle Falcons showed their enthusiasm today in personal training sessions. While disappointed at losses to Canberra and Illawarra, coach Sean Dennis was generally pleased, although he will address the problem the Falcons are having with fouls.
It's an area we've got to look at, so I'll sit down and watch the video today and find the problem, and then we'll fix it.
Considering off-season changes to the team and coaching staff, cohesion is improving. The Falcons continue the pre-season cup against Brisbane at home on Friday. Jonathan Upton, NBN News.
Some hairspray, a quick warm-up, and then into the serious business of competition. Since its humble beginnings 9 years ago, the New South Wales Quarter Horse Championships has been staged around the state. This year's event returning to Scone at White Park. Some say it's the easygoing nature of the breed as well as its versatility that endears the quarter horse to its rider. 170 junior and senior competitors from across the state and Queensland taking part in the titles. Invited to judge the skills of both rider and horse, American import Brian Ellsworth.
America being the home of the quarter horse, so we always try and get an American judge. Also, there's belief that they're unbiased and they don't know anybody here, so we get good decisions made.
Young riders from the Hunter Valley shone through. Scone's Carmen Eyre took out the 11 years and under title, Ellalong's Christy Jones the 15 to 18 years, while younger sister Lisa Jones, seen here on Mingo's Red Robin, won the 12 to 14 years division. All three will now represent the state at the national titles at Tamworth next month.
Regulars at the Body Focus gym at Wallsend Plaza arrived for their 9 o'clock aerobics class to find the front doors bolted. Only days ago, new members were signing up.
I moved to Newcastle 3 weeks ago, joined up 10 days ago, and for $199 I got 10 days.
Tempers flared and a door was smashed. Gym goers were baffled as to why the facility had been emptied of all its equipment and fixtures over the weekend. Conflicting notices proved just as frustrating, one suggesting a maintenance job was underway and another saying the closure was due to company matters beyond their control.
Now it's sort of gone and now everybody's out of pocket and now we've got to find something else or somewhere else to go.
The Plaza's centre manager was also caught by surprise, maintaining that Body Focus was still officially a tenant in the centre. Meanwhile, other gym owners moved in to pick up new business, a tougher job than they bargained for.
My family member Kylie, she got caught at another gym at Cardiff, and we feel we can't trust anybody anymore.
NBN was unable to contact the owner of the gym today for comment. encouraging small to medium businesses to take on the world with their products. The state government today handed over $80,000 to the Hunter Export Centre.
We've got to position ourselves in the niche market. We've got no chance whatsoever in the very high volume, low cost type products.
The grant, which will be followed by another $70,000 next year, will see 10 companies visit Southeast Asian countries in July on a trade mission. Richard Face, the minister assisting the Premier on Hunter Development, says the opportunities in Southeast Asia are boundless. Export growth in the region over 3 years has been projected to exceed $10 million.
But we've proved time and time again in technology, small runs of in small to medium-sized businesses, we can be very, very well competitive.
For companies such as Sea-Shirt, which makes seasonal clothing, Southeast Asian markets are crucial for growth.
For us, it's meaning that we don't have the gap anymore. We're actually manufacturing all year round, which is so important.
Simone Cobb, NBN News.
The Hockeyroos won the hearts of the nation at the Atlanta Olympics. It's a treasured memory, but the team now has the hard task of preparing to defend the title. On Friday, the Hockeyroos host Germany in Perth in the first of 4 Australian Test matches. It's the Hockeyroos home, and for the last few weeks, the squad has been testing fitness and strength and gearing up for the first step in their long walk to Sydney.
I detect a tone of, let's get started again, and some enthusiasm about getting started again. And of course, half the group is different and new, and that refreshes things.
The rest of the series will be played in New South Wales, 2 matches in Sydney and 1 in Newcastle. NBN Sports Star of the Year Michelle Andrews is one who'll make an appearance on home soil. She joins fellow Nova Castor and Nina Bonner in the squad, while Alison Annan and young rookie Julie Towers from Taree make up the New South Wales contingent. Sydney's 2 games will be played on Sunday and Wednesday. Newcastle's on Monday night at the International Hockey Centre at Broadmeadow. Jonathan Upton, NBN News.
"15-year-old Bree Jones was found dead in this house at Caves Beach in June 1994. She died from an overdose of methadone. The Crown claimed former heroin addict Paul Crombie gave her that prescription drug. He was charged with manslaughter and 2 counts of supply. However, in a shock decision today, Magistrate Michael Morahan dismissed all 3 charges, labelling the Crown's 4 witnesses who'd been in the house at the time of Bree Jones' death as liars.
Can we talk to you, Paul, about how you feel about being let off? You must feel pretty happy about being free now?
Under questioning by Defence Counsel Paul Rosser QC, each witness's story was found to be a fabrication. Mr Morahan said, "I don't think I have ever seen the credibility of witnesses totally destroyed as they were by Mr Rosser. It was discovered the 4 had conspired to lie to police about the whereabouts of one of the 4, this man Matthew Woods. Mr Morahan said he believed Woods was the one who most likely gave the methadone to Bree Jones. He urged the police to continue their inquiries into her death. Her family was shocked by the results.
Well, I'm devastated, of course, but I'm also devastated about those others getting off, knowing what we know.
Mr Morahan said the tragedy of Bree Jones' death may have been averted if the 4 had sought medical help earlier. Jodie McKay, NBN News. 44-year-old Vijay Sen was stabbed 17 times as he slept in this house at Johns River near Port Macquarie in December 1995. Charged with his murder is Robert Wilson, who lived in a granny flat at the back of the house. Also living in the house at the time, 20-year-old Shirlene Shabana Ismail. She told Newcastle Supreme Court how she woke to noises and found blood on the floor outside her bedroom. She said she saw Wilson, who was holding a knife, standing over Vijay Sen, who'd collapsed on the floor. Wilson made her clean up the blood. All the time she said she was terrified he was going to hurt her. She was eventually able to flee the house and call police. Robert Wilson handed himself in to Port Macquarie Police later that morning. He said he killed Vijay Sen because he believed he was an evil man. He told police he knew of the consequences of his actions. I was glad I'd done it. I knew that I was going to kill him and come in here. The trial continues tomorrow. Jodie McKay, NBN News.
Overnight, Newcastle Council voted to rezone the Merryweather Wharf site. The decision removes the first hurdle for the $40 million Holiday Inn. But while one obstacle was overcome, another presented itself. Council deferred a decision on development controls for an accompanying block of units, which the hotel developer maintains is integral to its plan.
The indications they've given us is they would not be proceeding if it wasn't available. Yep.
Aside from rezoning, Council also altered development controls to shift the hotel slightly to the west and allow it to go up an extra storey. The move is supposed to provide an adequate view corridor for the $40 million Intercontinental Hotel on the other side of Wharf Road. The Intercontinental's backers say that's not enough.
Our hotel is now in serious jeopardy, there's no doubt about that. It would appear that even more of our hotel rooms will have their views affected, and we're going to have to look very closely at whether our hotel can still proceed.
We've made all the concessions that have been put to us, and certainly if there are others put to us, we'll look at them.
One group unwilling to make any concessions is the Newcastle Hill Residents Group. Today they banded together with other residents groups to plan a campaign aimed at preserving the entire foreshore.
We'll be writing to the Premier, and we've formed a steering committee to look at running a public meeting to actually show Council the community's response to that decision.
Phil Hind, NBN News.
It's the kind of break every young soccer player aspires to. The chance to play but also to develop the game amongst youngsters. Tracy McGovern has created history being the first female appointed by the Northern New South Wales Soccer Federation as a development officer.
I'll be going to the Power Business College 2 days a week and studying administration and recreation development. And then I'll be going to primary schools 3 days a week or working in the office at Northern Soccer Federation.
Tracy's been on the ball recently as a member of the successful Northern New South Wales National Soccer League team and part of the Olympic athlete team. But closest to her heart is an ambition to develop soccer amongst females.
We'll always be looking for talent around this area all the way through Northern New South Wales. Hopefully we can pick up on some of them, especially in the females.
In just 2 years, Life Without Barriers has grown from nothing to an organisation of 80 volunteers dedicated to helping people with disabilities integrate with the wider community.
Certainly not too successful, but it's certainly growing at a great rate with a lot of people putting in time and energy.
It's prompted Hunter Health to contribute $35,000 to employ a full-time volunteer coordinator on a 12-month trial. It's a move which means Hunter Health will be able to tap into the volunteer network, especially to help people with mental illnesses.
Non-government organisations, very flexible organisations, can do things that we can't do and can actually do them better.
The woman who'll help coordinate the new recruits says she's only looking for one thing in a volunteer: commitment.
I don't like it if people whiz in and whiz out for 6 weeks, 3 months, because it's too hard on the person they're helping.
The first training course for new volunteers will be in May.
This antique merry-go-round and organ has been a familiar sight at the entrance for years. Locals and tourists treating their children to the same ride they once enjoyed. With the redevelopment of the foreshore, the owner was told he'd have to move the funfair to another site, opposite the entrance hotel, an area which Mr Haas claims is a danger to children. Wyong Council has spent the last 2 weeks considering other options, but at a meeting last night voted to continue with its original plans. Mr Haas has 2 weeks to accept the site or it will be offered for tender. Councillor John Millard says the decision will mean a tragic loss for the area, with the family now looking to move elsewhere. He's hoping the council will change its mind. A controversial welcome to Council's new quarters. The library and function room is still to be completed. The building is expected to open to the public on Monday. Sarah Griffiths, NBN News. These are the faces behind every 000 call or road accident involving critically injured people in the Hunter. Around 160 ambulance, medical and nursing staff are taking part in the region's first conference to achieve best practice in trauma care.
I think the ultimate aim is to improve the outcome of patients who suffer injury that might threaten their life or threaten their limb.
The conference allows trauma care workers to be updated on the latest technology and practices, as well as a chance to share their knowledge and experiences. With the busiest emergency room in the state, the John Hunter Hospital has established a trauma database, the benefits of which were explained at the conference.
With that we can look at outcomes of patients, we look at changes in trends, and if there's any increases in motor vehicle accidents in certain areas, and we also monitor performance indicators to ensure best quality practice possible.
Simone Cobb, NBN News.
you don't want to talk to anything, you just got to try and ignore it. That's my solution.
Kids get very nervous and they don't want to come to school and they just leave the school if it's very bad. Lots of kids have been bullied and we're trying to stop that at this school.
With around 15% of students identified as victims of bullying, it's a problem Maitland High School has decided to tackle head-on.
We're trying to give the students skills where they can survive effectively within society and basically to create a happy and safe school.
Following concern expressed by parents, research carried out at the school revealed that bullying is a serious problem. An anti-bullying plan has been launched to raise awareness and introduce control measures. And it's not only the victims who are being given support.
The bully often needs more support than the victim, and often the bully's role will change. One minute they're a bully and the next minute they can be a victim. It's a very, very complex issue and they're not clear-cut definitions.
They've just got to realise that what they're doing is the wrong thing and that they need help and that there's help around here, that they can get it if they want it.
Horses in all shapes and sizes and their 150 riders ranging in age from 4 to the mid-70s set out on horseback for the 15-kilometre trek to boost the research appeal. From Merriwa Showground, the horses and their riders stepped it out to a district woolshed at Oakley for morning tea, Cullenagle for lunch and back to Merriwa for a barbecue and auction. The ranks were swelled by enthusiasts from Waihi, Morpeth and Coolah in a ride for cancer appeal. About $15,000 was raised on the day for the Leo and Jenny Foundation in Sydney, a group conducting research on cancer and leukaemia. This will boost the $224,000 raised in 10 previous events in Merriwa.
Malcolm really has big raps on Gidley.
I have a lot of confidence in Matthew. He's sort of only a young kid, but he's got a lot of qualities, and I think he's got the prospects of being a future international.
The former Australian schoolboy has been given his biggest responsibility to date by starting at 5'8". Without the Johns brothers, Gidley and fellow youngster Leo Denver will lead the backs for the battle with South Queensland. Tony Butterfield is captain while the rest of the team is unchanged. Paul Harrigan's still out after another bout of migraines on the weekend.
I prefer him to sort of have a bit of a rest, totally away from the football side altogether.
Really was pleased with the 12-man effort against Norths, but has some reservations about the man in the middle, Paul Simpkins.
I'm not going to criticise anyone, but just that I shall be discussing one or two issues with Mick Stone over some of the calls.
Jonathan Upton, NBN News.
For the first time at Belmont District Hospital, health workers were given a womb with a view. The group gathered to celebrate the hospital's latest acquisition in cutting-edge technology, the HDI 3000 ultrasound system.
An ultrasound is an important tool to assist the doctors in diagnosing illnesses and also monitoring the progress of treatment.
Costing almost $250,000, the same unit is used by NASA on astronauts in space. Saving on cost and convenience, patients with various conditions no longer have to be transferred to John Hunter Hospital. More amazing than any sci-fi flick, the software allows mothers and doctors to watch the baby's organs in colour and stereo and can be linked to similar systems across the country.
We can tailor the needs of the patient and the actual specific examination sites to the ultrasound machine as well, and therefore the time taken to locate the areas and efficiently examine them to form a diagnosis is drastically cut down.